different. Look a little bit more vibrant. All right, everyone, we're here to help you buy your next home. Your new dream home, your first home, your second home, your third home, your investment property, whatever it may be, we are here to help and answer all of your questions that you may have about it. So fill up that chat box. Let us know what your thoughts are. Let us know what your scenario is, and we'll tell you if you can buy a house. Now, here's the truth, guys. Buying a house is not that hard. It is not that hard.
But it's not that simple either.
Well, no, it is that simple. And here's why I say that.
It's like getting in shape.
Well, that's very simple.
Yeah.
Eat right, exercise.
Yep.
Very simple. Now, doing it, yeah, can be difficult. Do you need discipline to get there? Yes, absolutely. Do you need to have a job for at least 2 years or a 2-year work history? Yes. Is that difficult? Maybe for some. Do you need a down payment sometimes? Is that difficult? Yes, maybe for some. Do you need a decent credit score? Is that difficult? Yes, maybe for some. But that's all you need. Income, assets, and credit. And we'll tell you what you need for your perfect scenario to get you into a home. So let us know. This is what we're waiting on.
Is that not on?
Yeah, we're waiting on it.
Okay. So yeah, we got interest rates. They actually, so people like, hey, I heard interest rates went down. They hover in this weird range, and the range is 100 to 250 basis points above the 10-year yield. The 10-year yield references the Fed funds rate. The Fed funds rate is currently 5.25 and 5.5 and hasn't moved. Hasn't moved. But the market dictates the rest. So it kind of goes up, kind of goes down, kind of goes up, kind of goes down. So inside of that range, it has come to the lower side of it. And New American Funding is currently putting out 5.75%. 5.75% on FHA, 5.75 on a VA, 5.75 USDA, 5.75 on a 15-year Fannie Freddie. Now, does that mean it's a perfect 5.75 at par? No. There's actually asterisk beside it and say you have to have an 800 FICO, you have to put 20% down, you have to do all of these different things. Take over for a second.
Yeah. All right, let's get to Karina Cruz. First question. Thank you, guys. Load up that chat box and let's answer all your questions. Does the co-buyer have to present at closing, or can I use power of attorney? Good question. Very good question. So power of attorney is exactly that. It's very powerful. So whomever needs to sign, you can use a power of attorney. As a matter of fact, we do this very often with a lot of our military active duty veterans. So when you're overseas, on a boat, in the middle of nowhere for 6 months, you can still buy a house if you have a power of attorney. So Karina, yes, you can use a power of attorney for the primary or the co-borrower, and we just have to present the proper documentation.
Colorful Casey, should I use a credit company that charges around $1,000 to fix my credit so I can get approved? I'm not going to tell you whether you should or you shouldn't, because that's kind of on you. They're across the board. We got some that charge $100 a month, but you're going to be 5 months and it's going to be $500. Some charge you $300 out of the gate, then $300 later. When I vet these people, I'm not looking for the best deal ever. I tell them, I don't care how much money you make. All I care is that my customers are happy. If they paid a higher fee, but they're happy, I'm good with you guys. I don't care what you make. I don't care. Just do a good job for my customer. Don't screw them over. Because there's a lot of credit card repair companies that will screw you over.
Yep, absolutely.
They'll screw you over. Somebody says Trump 24. I don't even know what to say to that. I do not know what to say to that, but I do know America. That means whole different thing nowadays, man. That's a G. That's a boss. You know what? Took a bullet. Didn't even know if it's in his brain. Didn't even know. You can't know. If you've ever been injured in some type of situation like that, there's so much shock going on. You don't know if you're full. You don't know if everything's good. You won't know for hours. But he just went, boom, what? Fight! Yeah, that's badass, dude.
Drew Goodman, FHA rates currently a bit lower than conventional. Can you do an FHA loan and put down more than 3.5%?
Yeah, Drew, all day long. I think, Drew, you're a loan officer, aren't you? Yeah, you can do
Was he?
I think Drew was a loan officer. It's good to see you if you are. Either way, if you are, you aren't. That's good. So either way, yeah, FHA, you can put 3.5% down. And if you put more than 10% down, then the MI drops to 0.50 from 0.55. You can always put more money down. If you put more than 10% down, the MI will fall off at 11 years. What? Yeah. MI is permanent if you only put 3.5% down. However, if you put 10% or more, it will fall off after 11 years.
Yeah.
So are mobile homes still a bad investment? Rick, I don't advise on investments. I just don't. I know I can't finance a mobile home. I can't finance it unless that mobile home meets a very specific criteria. That criteria is it has to be post 1976, has to be affixed to a permanent foundation via a 433A and an engineering cert. And as long as all those things are met, it's no longer classified as a mobile home. It is now real estate. And in that case, I can finance it. So, bad investment, good investment, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. Pipe insulation, I like that.
Yeah.
I make $108,000 a year in Washington, but my score is 580. Can I still buy a house in Florida?
Nope. Just nope. I hate to tell you this. So let me give you a little bit of background. Little story on this one, because it's a story. About 3 years ago, if you'd have came to me with a 580, I'd say, yeah, there's a pretty good chance. Like over a 50% chance I can get you a house if you have a 580 FICO. Why? Because the lending environment was a very good environment. They put the underwriting guidelines so that they would look the other way on a lot of things that caused the 580 FICO. However, at the moment, the environment that we're in, the lending environment's an unbelievably tight lending environment. It is not an easy environment in order to get a loan. So by the numbers, technically, FHA, you can do 3.5% down with 580. However, practically, because I run DU every day and he runs DU every day, that's desktop underwriter, and we do it on people with 580 FICOs, and it's very, 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 very difficult to get somebody with the 580 FICO approved. Do you agree?
Yeah, it's very difficult. Impossible? No, not impossible. Just very difficult. So I always accept those challenges. So when you say, can I still buy a house? He's correct. It's an uphill battle. It may be difficult, but here's some things that I don't know. I don't know how much you're putting down. If you said I'm putting 10% down, your chances skyrocket. If you say my co-borrower is adding to the file and we're going to have a low DTI, your chances skyrocket. So pipe insulation, I take that challenge every single day. And any of you that are interested in getting a home loan, go to the link in the bio, select apply for a home loan now, or our phone number is there so we can talk about it. And if you're not qualified today, we'll send you down a pass so you will be qualified down the road.
Yep. So what do we
Aaron
got?
Carr. Aaron M. Carr. Wow, 10% or more down on FHA. Got it.
Yeah, and Aaron, if you're doing 10% on an FHA, we usually lean you towards a Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac at that point because you got cash. You got cash. If you got cash, you can solve problems, like a lot of problems. Like debt to income problems, we can solve those if you got cash. Mm-hmm. So there's occasions why we would do 10% FHA. Occasions, and usually it's a hard stop. Like if you had a bankruptcy, I can do an FHA within 2 years, but I can't do a Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac till 4 years. 4 years, right? Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac?
Yes.
So if you had a bankruptcy Chapter 7, that's problematic. It's not going to happen. So do you finance homes in Arkansas? Yes. Actually, we just did one in Mena, Arkansas. We love Mena, Arkansas. And that being said, hey, guess who? Navy Mom Donna's in the house today.
What's up, Navy Mom?
Navy Mom Donna, Mena, Arkansas. It's a place that's going pretty good. So yes, we will do your house in Arkansas. Does NAF have a site showing today's rates? Drew Goodman, loan officer, I'm pretty sure. So yes, Drew. Very simple. Go to our profile. Go to the links where it says links. Go to cool stuff. When you click cool stuff, there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff. Just go to today's rates. You'll see today's rates. You'll see exactly what I'm telling you. Are we not getting electricity there?
I don't know. It might be the computer. I don't know.
You just took a dump?
Yeah, I don't know.
All right.
So yeah, today's rates are there. You can access them. Las Vegas.
I
make $110, and my credit is over 750. Live in California. Can I buy in Las Vegas?
Tony, HR. Maybe.
I hope that's 110,000.
Yeah, maybe. I did somebody who was a nurse in Loma Linda and wanted a house in Las Vegas. And I said, okay, cool. How does this work? And she goes, well, I rent a room here, but my house is in Las Vegas. I just got a better job here at Loma Linda. And I'm like, okay, can we get something proving all that? She's like, well, my mom lives in Las Vegas. I'm in Las Vegas every weekend. Like, I go to Las Vegas every weekend. It's 3 hours away from Loma Linda. And I'm like, okay, can we get something? And the underwriter said, all right, I want to see gas station receipts. I want to see that you actually go there. I want to see where you grew up. What's the house you grew up in? And her mom had the house they grew up in. All right, cool. So we made the case to the underwriter and we said, hey, yeah, she's a nurse. She does rent a room, $500 a month. All right, cool. And her primary residence is in Las Vegas, even though she works in Loma Linda, California, and she makes her living in Loma Linda, California. Her primary residence is Las Vegas. So I got the underwriter to agree. She's like, yep, I agree. This is how this person lives. Cool. Got my house.
Yeah, Tony, let's get you a house. Aaron Carr again. Also, hard to build credit without a real estate loan.
Aaron.
It's not hard to build credit.
Yeah.
If you're wanting 800,
that's
having
hard.
a loan
Yeah.
is very helpful. A real estate loan.
Yeah.
But building your credit is actually pretty easy, Aaron. There's two ways we can solve this. If you have credit challenges, go to the link in the bio, select Fix My Credit, or give us a call. We'll actually go over your credit and let you know what's hindering you. We could do something called a credit simulator. Pay some credit cards down, add some debt, whatever the case may be, and get those scores in a buying position.
By the way, credit payment history is the heaviest weighted situation. It's 35% of your overall credit score. And it doesn't forget. So if you didn't pay something on time 4 years ago, it's still there. It's still going to be a problem. So the most important thing you can do long game, pay your bills on time. Pay your bills on time. That's the most important thing.
Yep. User 1467. I agree. I did it with just $585, and it was such a hassle. But you did it.
Yeah.
That's the biggest deal.
If you can pull it off, your DTI drops. There's a whole bunch of extra guidelines right now because we're in unbelievably tight underwriting. Now, bear in mind that the banks and the federal government, they get to control how much money goes into the system just by increasing or decreasing the underwriting guidelines. They don't even have to do a whole lot. They just have to say, hey, 580, we make it easier for you to get a house. You know what? Now it's harder. It's that simple. And then all of a sudden, less people buy houses, less houses are being, it's a economics, trickle economics.
Yeah, Joseph, ever seen fraud with the person getting a mortgage and wants to be owner occupied, but they rent it?
Yeah, it's not a good idea.
Don't do it.
I've seen it. Don't do it. If they catch you, it's not good. I've seen loan officers go to jail because they did this shit. I've seen, like loan officers that work right next to me that were badass producers. And I'm like, how do you keep producing like that? They were fudging documents. They were doing all kinds of, and some people went to jail.
Yep.
Don't do it. Just don't do it.
Don't do the F word, guys. Don't do it. Michael Gonzalez, don't have money saved, but the money in my 401k. Can I use that?
All day, every day, Michael Gonzalez, under a couple of situations. First, every 401k has something called TOW, Terms of Withdrawal. Some 401ks don't let you get the money out. Most do, but some don't. Like, for instance, this is not a 401k, but it's CalSTRS and CalPERS. When somebody says, hey, I got $400,000 in CalSTRS, I'm like, doesn't matter. Can't touch it no matter what.
Well, California has $400,000.
Yeah, California, yeah. If I die, nobody gets it but California. So, CalSTRS and CalPERS, you can't get the money out at all. Most 401ks are corporate, and they have a version of withdrawal, and most of them make an allotment for you buying a house, especially if it's your first house and your primary residence. If it's your investment properties, they stop. They're like, you're making enough money to buy investment properties? Yeah, we're not going to help you.
Yeah, pipe insulation. Quick question. Where are you out of? And how's business? How's business going? Because you're in one of those fields that I think is in a need where people are actually hiring.
The trades, man. I got respect for people in their trades.
Exactly.
I got very big respect for people in the trades.
Pipe insulation said, okay, perfect. Thank you for your prompt response. Hope to hear from you, man.
We're here for you, man.
Or woman. Drew Goodman, NAF website showing 6.25 on a 30-year conventional. What kind of points are we talking on that?
Drew, you have to go in there. You a loan officer, Drew? Pretty sure you are.
Of course.
Yeah. So the 6.25 on a conventional, it was 6.25 on a 30-year conventional. There is something, if you're a loan officer, you should know this, but if not, I'll teach you. No worries. I teach people all the time. Hey, there's something called an APR. When somebody puts out a quote, there's also a law that says you have to put out an APR because banks will lie to you and tell you the truth in the same sentence. They'll tell you, hey, 6.25%. And you go there and you're like, hey, I'd like that 6.25%. They're like, cool, I'd like that $22,000 buy down. You're like, wait a minute, you didn't tell me there was a $22,000 buy down. Oh, no, we disclose the APR, and the APR is at 7, and that's built into the APR. What? It's a little complicated, but it's the way the banks tell you the truth and lie to you at the exact same time. But you have to know how to decode this stuff. So, Drew, if you're a new loan officer, you look at that 6.25, and the immediate next thing you should be looking at is your APR. If your APR is really close, you didn't pay for that rate. But if it's not close, you paid for the rate. And Drew, if you're a loan officer, you also know that the cost is going to be entirely dependent on your credit score, one thing, your debt to income ratio, another thing, and your loan to value ratio. Well, if your credit score is 800, Drew, well, then it's going to be less cost. If your debt to income ratio is 24 instead of 48, well, then it's going to be less cost. And if you're putting 25% down, it's going to be less cost. Drew, taking you to school.
Yeah, load up that chat box, guys. Give us all your questions, comments, concerns. Aaron said no bankruptcy, own a home with no mortgage on it.
Congratulations, Aaron. Good for you.
Good job. Very good job. Just Kim, what about financing a foreclosed home? How hard is it to get financing?
Just Kim, great news and bad news. The great news is this. The financing, exact same as anything else. There is no difference in financing. Absolutely no difference at all. Does not matter. The bad news, if you think you're getting a good deal on a foreclosed property, you're about 14 years too late. Because 14 years ago, you could do that. You can get a really good deal on a foreclosed property. But foreclosed, all that means is, hey, Mom and Pa Kettle used to own it, and it was worth $500,000. Now the bank owns it, and it's worth $500,000. Mom and Pa Kettle were going to use a realtor to sell it for $500,000. Now the bank's going to use a realtor to sell it for $500,000. The fact that it's foreclosed is entirely irrelevant.
And let me share the challenge that you're probably going to run into. If the owners of that home let it foreclose and they did some pretty crappy things to it and they didn't maintain it well, the flooring's horrible, the walls are horrible, the piping's horrible, everything's horrible. Those are going to be repairs that are necessary for the financing.
Yeah.
So they may drop the price a little bit, but they're not going to do those repairs. So the likely person to get that house is either a cash buyer,
A flipper.
or a flipper, or someone that's doing some kind of non-traditional financing.
Yeah.
So just Kim,
I'd like to help you, and I know it sounds beautiful, like, hey, I'd like to buy me a fixer-upper. Hey, how about I go after foreclosed? But when you actually look at the real world, there's a market value for a house, and the market value for the house is the market value for the house.
Yeah. Tiffany in Carolina, thank you for the love. Rick, curious, the fact that it's an election year affect mortgage situation?
Oh, yeah, Rick. Oh, my God. It's horrible right now. Loan officer, like I have people calling me all the time, hey, is it a good idea to be a loan officer? Not now. Most loan officers are starving out because the interest rates are so long. And some of us could hold on for a long time. And then a lot of them just start dropping because they don't have that much time left. It's a very, very difficult time. Now, the election year changes things a little bit. Not a lot, because the chairman of the Federal Reserve, his name is Jerome Powell, gets appointed by the president. But they get appointed for a 4-year term in the middle of the last president. So guess who appointed Jay Powell? Trump. I think he appointed him. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. It might have been Obama, but Jay Powell's been around for a long time. So you would think that the chairman of the Federal Reserve kind of leans towards, hey, let me keep my boss in office. He can't think that way. He has to think, my job is economic stability of the United States regardless of who's in power. That's the ideal way. And the way they set up our system is that the Federal Reserve chairman gets appointed in the middle of a presidency so that they cannot be upended the minute a new administration comes in. So, that being said, they don't look, if you ask the chairman, they say, no, we don't look at that stuff. We can't. We cannot. Our responsibility is bigger than a president because our responsibility is long-term stability of the U.S. economy, not whether a Democrat or a Republican is in office. So theoretically, it doesn't affect it at all, theoretically.
Aaron Carr, okay, glad I came across this today. We'll reach out. Thanks.
We're here for you, Aaron Carr.
Any relation to Derek Carr, by the way?
Maybe.
Joseph Craney, how much is the loan to value if your mortgage property for renting it out? So if you're buying a house, you're going to be at 80, maybe 15. Investment property, maybe 15, but it's going to be 20% down if you're buying an investment property. If you own a home and you've lived in the home and you want to rent it out, let's say that you just bought it, you have to live in it for probably a year if you're FHA. Other than that, not a whole lot of rules.
So if this is what I'm a little confused on right now. So let's just say that I own a primary residence right now, okay? And I lived in it 1 year and a day, okay? So I met the guideline. And I'm at 100% LTV, but I got moved. And can I wash that 100% LTV with the current rental? So it doesn't have to be at 85 in that situation. So if I'm going to buy another investment property or second home, it has to be at 85. But if my job moves me or there's a logical reason for me to move, then I can be at 100% LTV and wash it, but I can't get positives, right?
Correct.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Drew Goodman told Michael Gonzalez, yes, you can buy, you'll pay 10% in your taxes next year. I don't know what he's referring to.
I don't know either, man.
Yo, Saeed, can you own back taxes? It's America.
Yeah, it's America. You can do anything you want to.
Anything.
Shoot, yeah.
You're American.
There's some things that you can do that I never thought people would want to do. Like, hey, I'm a boy. Let me cut something off and become something. I'm not going to talk about that.
No,
anyway, yeah. Well, I don't know, man. Anyway, can you owe back taxes? You can always owe back taxes. That's life. This is America. Now, can you owe back taxes and get a house? Yeah, easy. All day, every day. In fact, I would say 30% of the people we put in houses have some kind of problems with the IRS. Like some kind of, like, hey, I'm in an offer installment agreement with, $100 a month. All right, cool. Let me factor that in. Hey, I haven't paid my taxes for the last 2 years. Yeah, you better file those because we're not going to be able to move forward until you do, because you have to be current with the IRS. Now, if you owe back taxes, and let's just say you owe 10 grand, and you say, hey, Mr. IRS, I'm going to pay you $200 a month for the next 7 years and cover that 10 grand. Can I do that? All day, every day. We do it all the time. So no worries at all.
Anthony, can I help my son get a home? I am a 755 consumer credit score. Yeah.
Or he's 755 years old.
True.
Could be that. You got American flag. Anthony, much respect to you immediately out of the gate.
You could be as old as you want, Anthony.
Yeah, it's
but
illegal.
755, I'm pretty confident in that. Yes, you could be a co-signer on your son's home,
But
even if you own a home.
But you better have income, Anthony, because if you don't make no income, you're like, hey, you can use my 755 FICO.
I don't think you get that kind of score with no income.
I agree with you, but I'm just telling him you got to have some kind of income in order to do that.
That flag up there tells me a lot about him.
Yep.
Good job, Anthony.
TC Esmeralda.
Is that transaction coordinator? Are you in real estate?
I want to buy a house in Texas, but I'm relying on one-person income what?
They have fair credit.
I'm relying on one-person income. Okay.
Yeah, single household.
Fair credit. All right. Okay. So, all right, TC Esmeralda, it's just math. It's just math. If in Texas, there's some spots in Texas where you can get a house for 200 grand. There's a lot of spots in Texas where you can get a house for 200 grand. If you go to the more populated areas, you're 400, 500, 600 grand. That's Dallas, Houston, Austin, Fort Worth. Those are the higher areas. If you go to the suburban parts, I closed one probably 2 weeks ago for 330 on the outside of Houston. You can do it, but it's always math. How much money do you make? What's your debt to income ratio? And we make it work.
Yeah. And are you a transaction coordinator, Esmeralda? Joseph Craney. If it's owner-occupied mortgage and they rent it out, putting it on the MLS, how does the bank know?
Okay, so let me think about that. If it's owner-occupied mortgage and they rent it out without putting it on the MLS, how will the bank know? Well, first off, you're going to tell them because we're going to pull your credit and we're going to see there's a mortgage on here. And they're going to say, we have 3 categories in the mortgage. 3, right? It's either a primary residence, second home, or investment property. Those are the categories. We have to click it because when we pull the credit, we're going to go, what is this? And you're like, well, it's an investment property. Cool. Guidelines kick in. Second home, different guidelines. Primary residence, guidelines. Okay, cool. So if I'm moving from 123 Main Street to 456 Main Street, I'm going from primary residence to primary residence. So when I build the file, I put primary residence. Cool. What are you going to do with it? 4 more boxes pop down. One of them is pending sale. That's one of them. One of them is rental. And the other one is what?
Living in it?
Yeah. So you tell the bank. Now, if you lie to them, that's mortgage fraud. But let's go a little deeper. Okay? So there's a lot of people who think they can game the system, and the system has ways of checking on you that you wouldn't even believe. So somebody says, hey, you know what? I'm going to buy myself a primary residence. I do not recommend you do this, by the way. I'm going to buy myself a primary residence. But as soon as I move in, I'm moving out. All right, cool. I'm going to rent it. Oh, you know what? I need to change that insurance to renter's insurance. Oh, cool. Guess who talks to the bank? The insurance company. So the insurance company says, hey, you have a new policy on here. It's a renter's insurance policy. The bank goes, hey, thank you for telling me. I appreciate it. Awesome. Sometimes they won't even tell you, but they're voiding everything. Mm-hmm. So the next thing you're going to go is, hey, you say you live there. All right, cool. Your bank statements, for some reason, have a different address. Oh, your tax returns have a different address, too. Oh, wait a minute. All these addresses do not add up. Can you please reaffirm whether you're committing fraud or not? And then you're in a pickle.
Yep.
There's lots of ways they find you.
Yeah. Jazzy, $150K down on $300,000. What kind of credit score would you need? Good credit score? What score?
That's a lot of questions. 150K down on on 300K. So the amount down is somewhat irrelevant. Somewhat, but it does play in a little bit. Minimum FICO score for FHA is 580. 580. You can go lower than 580, but you need 10% down. That's why I say could be somewhat relevant. But then the next thing is pricing. Trying to get pricing on a 540 FICO, oh my God, it's hard. And it's ridiculously expensive. Like 4 points to get to a high rate. That's a little bit of loan officer talk. Ideally, you want 800, but very few people have 800. 700s, better. 600s, acceptable. 500, possible. Hope that helped.
Yeah. So I can say with confidence, 580 or better.
Yeah.
You're in the money.
Yeah, you're in the money.
Silver Lee, that's kind of you.
Yep.
Is it a good time to sell your house to an investor or a cash buyer?
Silver Lee, the only one who can really answer that is you. Because do you think it's a good time to sell your house? Some people think it's a good time to buy the house. For some people, hey, I have to move. I'm getting a divorce. Whatever the reason, that's a personal situation. However, investors and cash buyers, by definition, pay less than fair market value. Their job is to say, hey, this house has a busted roof and a busted foundation. You know how much that's going to cost you? 80 grand. I'll give you X to walk away. And what they're saying is, I'll fix the foundation, I'll fix the roof, and I'll put it on the market for fair market value. That's an industry. Those are flippers, investors, cash buyers.
Yeah. Joseph Craney, can someone get a mortgage while having SSI or SSDI as only income?
Joseph, yeah. Now, does it happen often? No. Why? Because most people that have SSI or SSDI as their only income, it's going to come in anywhere from 800 to maybe 1,800. Somewhere in that range. This is just experience. I don't know what yours is. But 800 to 1,800, all right, cool. That's your income. Now, I have to factor that into, do you have a car? Do you have any other things? Do you have student loans? Anything else? And if that's your only income, all loans are based off of debt to income ratio. So if I have an $1,800 a month payment, the best I can hope for is a 900 PITI. 900 PITI is an $80,000 loan. $80,000 loan, not that many houses for 80 grand. And that's if you have no other problems. If you're perfect every other way, like 800 FICO score, every other way. So if it's your only income, probably problematic.
I'll give you a scenario where it made it real easy, though, real easy. Husband and wife married, 3 kids. Husband passed away. Wife got
DI.
I think it was SSI.
Okay.
And then the 3 kids received it too.
Oh, so yeah, I remember that.
There's 4 sources of income there. God rest his soul, but the family was
$9,000 a month, right?
Yeah, and she was able to get a house for her and the kids.
$9,000 a month in that situation.
It's rare.
It's rare, and we try all the time. But I know what it is. Oh, there is some good news. I get to gross up that income. So if it was $1,800, I get to add 25% to it. So you're probably about $2,100.
Yeah, I think we grossed it up too.
Yeah.
Yo, Saeed, can one person have the credit and the
money?
And you have the money, and do they have?
Yeah, that's a Yo Saeed. We answer this question a lot, and then you know what? It's actually a basic answer, but we still tell you it's so simple. It's like, hey, bro, can I use your credit? No, that's ridiculous. That's absolutely insane. Every single person gets gauged on their own accord. You have a credit score and you earned it. If you got a shitty credit score, it's because you earned it. You got an income and you earn it. If you got great income, it's because you earned it. If you don't, it's because you earned it. So we take this person's income and credit score and full profile, and we gauge them. And the other person on the loan, income, credit, full profile, and we gauge them. You can't go, hey, bro, your credit's mine. Just tell the bank to use yours. Hey, bro, your income's better than mine. Just tell them to use yours. That's ridiculous. That's insane. I don't even know how people think that way. But if it's a legitimate question, there's your answer. No, we have to use everything accordingly.
Yep, everyone's credit, everyone's income. Jay Bills, are you able to buy a house with self-employment income?
All day, every day, Jay Bills. All day, every day. He's clapping for you.
Yeah, self-employed.
Self-employed, man, we much respect to the self-employed. Here's the catch with self-employed. Self-employed, you get to go, hey, I made $100 grand. Yeah, but you have to pay taxes on $100 grand. Well, I had to write off my truck, and well, there was gas and food, and well, there was materials, and hey, guess what? I only made 10 grand. All right, cool. IRS says, well, that's what you say. You know, you're testing. You only made 10 grand. All right, cool. Then you go to the bank and you're like, hey, bank, I made 100 grand. They're like, that's awesome. Let's get you a loan. And they see your tax return. They say, this says you only made 10 grand. Yeah, but that's what I told the IRS. That's not what really happened. The bank's like, yeah, you made 10 grand. If you're telling the world you made 10 grand, you made 10 grand. That's a problem. Because here's the truth of it. The IRS is the federal government. The federal government. You're telling the federal government, hey, I know I said I made 100 grand, but there's expenses, and I made 10 grand. I'm telling the federal government that. All right, cool. So you told the federal government that, and they bought in. They're like, okay, cool. You only pay taxes on 10 grand. We're good with that. And then you go to FHA, which is the federal government, or VA, which is the federal government, or USDA, which is the federal government, or Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, which are GSE, government-sponsored entities, the federal government. And you say, trust me, bro, I make a lot of money. They're like, yeah, cool. Let's see how much. Don't worry what I told the IRS. Don't worry what I told the federal government. I'm asking the federal government to forget what I told them. It doesn't work that way. So that's the only problem with self-employed is we have to go after your net number.
Okay, this is really cool. A guy here says, haha, I'm a remedy and breach department for top 20 lender. So he's going to give us the facts, guys.
Okay.
He says, I have foreclosed on more than 300 people this year for misrepresentation.
No shit.
USPS mail change.
No shit. Yeah, that's it.
Utility registration, vehicle registration, voter registration, tax bill registration, and mailing.
See, AG guy here,
he knows.
It sounds like you're legit because we just real simple. Don't do it. Don't do fraud. Don't. Just don't. I have a license, NMLS 944254. He has a license.
1066958.
We protect that. We protect that by telling you, don't break the rules. If you're in a private conversation, you're like, hey, can we just keep it between us? I'm like, hey, listen, I got to advise you, don't break the rules. Whatever you tell me, I'm going to submit that to an underwriter. But I got to tell you, don't. They'll catch you in ways that you have no idea.
Yep. Thank you, a guy here. Because
yeah, we appreciate
a lot of people have these questions. We always
Dude,
say
follow
no.
us. We want to follow you back. We only follow like 60 accounts out of 70,000 people that follow us. Yeah. We'll follow you back.
Right on. TX Home. Hi, guys. How do I qualify to buy a rental? Will be second mortgage score 680, 678, and $265,000 in income.
$265K of income. That's a really good start. Really good start, TX Home. So if you want to buy a rental, that's an investment property. Investment property, the guidelines are pretty simple. You have to have 20% down. With $265,000 a year, you probably have 20% down. So you have to have 20% down, 680 or better FICO. But here's the one that catches everybody. You need 6 months reserves minimum for all properties. Your primary residence and all your rental properties. All of them. Now, if you're in a situation where you have a home and a second home and a rental property, you need PITI for everything for a minimum of 6 months. However, if you meet all those requirements, cakewalk. It's easy. It's pretty damn, especially with that income, because income is what kills people right now.
Navy Mom Donna said, had to step out because my sailor just called.
What?
Thank you for your service, sailor.
We appreciate you, Navy Mom Donna, and your sailor, whatever the hell that means, as if I didn't know.
Silver Lee, it needs to be remodeled, and I don't want to do it. I've applied for a new home. Thanks for the info.
Yeah, we're here for you. Silver Lee, we give a wealth of information. We actually give everything that I wish people would have taught me when I first joined the business. Because when I first joined the business, I was a fool. I thought, well, I do a good loan. I can calculate a mean income. That has such tiny little bit to do with it. Such tiny little bit to do with it. you do need to be able to calculate income. You do need to know how to put numbers in an Encompass file so that so the software will spit it out. But it's bigger than that. You actually have to understand how to get people into homes and understand that the real world hits people left and right. So we're here for you.
Yeah, and if you want us to be your loan officer, time for a commercial.
If you need a badass loan, call a badass loan officer. You can reach your badass loan officers, Chris and Lee, at New American Funding by dialing the numbers on the screen. But don't dial them right now because Chris is live on Instagram and Lee is live on TikTok, and we will not answer the phone. When we're done being live, you can call us. We'll answer. That's it.
Boom. TX Home. Monthly debt is $7,000, including first mortgage, car, and student loans.
So real quick math, TX Home, I would do $7,000 and I would double that. So it's $14,000 a month times 12, about $160,000. You have $100,000 usable income. That's just quick math for your second property. $100,000 usable for your second property, $400 to $500 grand, depending on how much you're putting down, maybe a bit more. That's just simple math of 30 years of experience.
Yeah, Jenny says I'm contacting you guys this week.
Jenny, we're here for you.
This week.
Yeah, this week, do it.
Alpha Grace. My sister lost her house due to a divorce and a foreclosure. She has a salary of $140,000 annual, FICO 730. That's a good end to a divorce.
That's a hell of an end to a divorce. You did really good.
Yeah.
So we can get, if you're a foreclosure, sometimes the underwriters will look the other way if it's a divorce. Rarely, but sometimes. If you can represent extenuating circumstances. What are extenuating circumstances? Well, let's just say you're Bernie Madoff's wife, rest his soul. But Bernie Madoff's wife, and you're like, I had no idea that this was going to be foreclosed. I'm an innocent spouse.
Innocent.
That's actually a provision in the IRS that you have to prove. And if you can prove it, we might be able to get you a loan. So there's that.
I saw these hearts flying in, and then I see
know.
Tony Bows.
Tony Bows is in the house. What's up, Tony Bows?
Always has our back.
I
Give us those
appreciate
hearts,
ya.
guys.
Yep, we're here for
If
you.
you like what we say, and we're going to help you. Hey, guy here, thank you for the love. Yo Saeed, how do they do hairstylists?
Well, hairstylists are pretty simple. Usually you guys are 1099 and you rent a property and you rent a booth. And so you have an income and expenses. It's just self-employed, pretty simple. 1099 comes at the top. We take out all your expenses. We net your income. Good to go. We've put a lot of hairstylists in houses.
Team Sanchez.
Clean your mind up.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying. Team Sanchez in the house. Thanks for joining us again. Haven't seen you in a while. Does my current mortgage count against my debt to income ratio if I want to buy a second property home? Primary home. Second primary home. Great question.
Yes.
Great question.
Yes, always. All mortgages count against your debt to income ratio.
But
your income can be rental income, and in which case it offsets it. So you can actually show a profit on rental income if I can prove 2 years of work of rental history that show you have landlord experience. Why? Because until you have 2 years of landlord experience, you don't know what it's like being a landlord. There's a lot of problems that pop up.
Yep. And for your new home, if you do it correctly, we can eliminate that mortgage and you can buy the new home with as little as 5% down conventional.
What?
Maybe FHA. So
What?
great question, Team Sanchez.
Yep.
Hector Salcedo, how do I have 3 charge-offs. Can I still qualify for a mortgage?
Hector.
Charge-offs.
Charge-offs. Charge-offs
What's that
are
mean?
actually
What's that mean?
that's actually good for you. I know.
What's a charge-off?
It's ironic. So, a charge-off means that the creditor chased you for a while, and they decided they needed a loss. So you owed $5,000. They said to the IRS, "This guy's never going to pay us. So we're going to take that as a loss, and we're going to write it as a charge-off." So it's now a charge-off. It's a loss for the company, so they got some kind of benefit out of it. They would have rather had the money. But since they figured out you're not going to pay, they used the tax system, and they got the benefit that they could out of it. And then they did something else. When they did that something else, they made a little bit more money. They said, "Hey, I got this guy who hasn't paid for the last 4 years. We charged it off. So we can no longer legally go after that debt. But I'll sell it to you for 20 cents on the dollar. He owed us $5,000. We'll sell it to you for $1,000. If you collect, you make 400% profit. If you don't, you lost $1,000. Even if you negotiate for half, you made 250% profit. That's the real world that we live in. So when the loan officer look at a charge off, we're like, hey, that's kind of good news. Why? Because I can ignore it. It's gone. It's no longer a problem. Now, usually right below the charge off, there's going to be a collection agency for the exact same amount. That's the one we have to deal with, because that's usually an active collection for the next 7 years because they want their money back.
Yep.
That's how it happens.
Yeah, and if your charge-offs are old, let's move forward, man. If you got better than a 620 or 620 or better, you're getting the house. Let's do it.
Hector, the real simple, can I get mortgage with 3 charge-offs? Yes. Yes, we do them all the time. Almost, I'd say 40% of the credit pools I have some charge-offs.
Yep. That's weird.
Block. Just say block. That's good. Yeah, we're having technical difficulties. I don't know why.
James
I don't know
Ryan.
why.
I'm a teacher on a one-income household. We can't afford homes anymore.
James, I'd like to help you, but that's the
love that
reality.
chance.
Yeah, that's the reality, dude. Most of the people in America can't afford homes, and we know because we pull credit across the nation. I pull credit in New York, Alaska, Florida, Texas, California, Oregon, everywhere. And we run into the same thing. We know what incomes are across the board. We know what housing prices are across the board. There's some weird situations that are happening. Like, for instance, homeowners insurance is getting ridiculously expensive in some parts of the nation. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. But it's what it is.
James Ryan, here's what I'm going to say. I've yet to put a serious teacher not in a house. I think we have always put a serious teacher in a house.
Yeah, we do.
So give us a call, man. Give us that challenge.
Ebitted Tides at Team Sanchez. What a dumb question. No, Ebitted Tides. I gotta jump in here and say, Team Sanchez doesn't ask Team Sanchez is a badass. Team Sanchez asks some really badass questions. Team Sanchez is a badass.
Yeah, I agree. Ashley Heiklin, how you doing? What are the odds of finding a house now, but trying to push out closing? So get into a contract and put closing like down the road?
Ashley, it's market specific because some people put on their home on the market at market value and don't move it for 90 to 180 days. Florida, big time. It's happening in Florida right now. So if you put a big enough EMD down and you said, hey, I'd like to push out closing for 90 days, but I'm willing to put 50,000 EMD. That's earnest money deposit. Might happen. I mean, it's all subject to the market and the power of your realtor. Hopefully you have a great realtor.
Yeah. Joseph Craney. I'm a landlord and renters was repeatedly 15 days late. If renter gets mortgage, will this affect them?
If you report it, most landlords do not pay for the service to report. But you can. But it costs you money. But you can. There's a lot of buts in there. So TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax are a service. FICO is a service. You have to pay for that service. So if you're going to report them, you have to pay to report them, and most landlords just don't.
Yeah. Also, is there a grace period? Like, is the 15 days the grace period where they're not late anymore?
Now, even a bank gives you a 15-day grace period. They just charge you an internal $50 don't do that again fee, and every month they'll do it.
That's like, it's more than that. It's like $80.
$80, yeah.
They slap it kind of hard.
No.
Cassie, what happens if you don't have enough funds for closing costs?
Cassie, you lose your house.
Can't pay the bill.
Yeah, you just lose your house. It's that simple. Your loan officer should have never let you get in that situation. Yep. Oh, by the way, right after you lose your house, you should fire your loan officer.
Fire him.
Yeah.
Then what?
And it's probably not your realtor, it's your loan officer. Then you call us.
Yep. Yep. Loading. Would it be smart to put about 90% down and then pay off the house in a year to build credit?
Yeah, sure, if you want to.
Just buy a car.
Yeah.
Crystal 1983, if buying 2 separate dwellings, one lot with VA, calculate one of them as income for the loan.
No! Maybe.
Like an ADU?
Well, so what you're doing here, so you're mixing guidelines, Crystal, but it's factoring in my head, and he's gonna help me here. Because he has literally gone through the school for the one-time construct, VA, FHA, USDA, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. He's gone through the school and is certified to do the one-time construct. And I literally go to him and go, can I do this? Can I do that? Can I do this? There's a few things so I'll give you some quick guidelines. Here's the guideline. Can I get you a 4-unit on a VA if you live in the primary unit and you finance the property? The answer is yes, I can. I can use the other 3 for income calculation. That being said, if I do use the other 3, I need for you to have 6 months reserves in the bank because I needed their income in order to qualify you. If I did not need the other 3 incomes in order to qualify you for the 4 unit, I don't need any money in the bank for the reserves. I don't need any money. Now, can you do a VA loan one-time construct, which means I buy the land under the loan, I buy the general contractor under the loan, I buy the manager under the loan, they build that thing for me with a construction loan, and then the VA takes it out at the end with a VA loan. That's a one-time construct. So the answer to that is also yes, I can do that. Now, where I'm running into a little bit of can I do a one-time construct fourplex with a VA loan? Can I?
No. It's only
Okay.
primary. It's only primary.
That was, yeah, my brain was...
But Crystal 1983, that scenario, let's make it happen.
Yeah, if we can, I'd like to know. I'd like to know.
Dale Kinney, best loan for duplex. How much down?
Best loan for duplex is by far, without a doubt, VA. No question about it. 0 down. But you have to be a veteran, and it can't be used.
And you asked the question.
That's it. Yeah,
You asked the question.
Yeah, you did ask the question. By far, without a doubt, VA. Now, if you cannot get a VA loan because you're not a veteran, then the next one's going to be FHA if you have a 620 to 750 FICO. If you have a 620 to 750 FICO, it's going to be FHA. If you have above 750 FICO, it's going to be Fannie Mae. That's just 20 years of experience in loans. More than that, actually, but whatever.
A guy here says detection has gotten very sophisticated.
AG guy, dude, I hope you're on our feed often because we dig the guys who do the hard work and just break it down to basic common sense. Because a lot of it, you're trying to game the system. When the people are trying to game the system, you lose. You just lose. And there's ways to catch it. And there's people that catch it. That's all they do is catch the people doing wrong shit. And it's like CSI Miami. How do they catch them? Because there's shit that is there. There's forensic audits. What's a forensic audit? Forensic audit is when you go through the details. And they really go through the details to figure this shit out.
Yep.
So I dig guys like you, man.
Yeah, a guy here, you ever send anyone else to knock on the doors?
I've heard of it. It doesn't
I've heard
happen
of it too.
often. It doesn't happen often because people are like, hey, do they check? And I'm like, I've heard they do. I've never actually been at the door when they knock, but I heard they check. And they have to have reason to check. But if they have reason to check, yeah.
Brandon, he's a first-time home buyer, $90,000 to $120,000 income, 790 credit, 60K cash. Only debt is $25,000 student loan at 4.5%. That's a damn good file, Brandon.
Yeah, but Brandon. 90 to 120, it's one of those. It's either 90
Maybe he's commissioned.
or it's 120. Because at 90, you're cracking 420, 430, 440. At 120, you're cracking 520, 530, 540. In California, because the tax base in California is very low. It's 1.25 as a rule. Can't go higher on new builds. Certain areas go higher.
Yeah.
But that's a big range.
Yeah, looking forward to that phone call, Brandon.
Yep.
Miss Lily, I called yesterday and left a voicemail in regards to obtaining a loan. Do me a favor, Miss Lily, whatever number you call,
Yeah.
shoot that number a text
Yeah.
right now and
Yeah,
say,
text
this
us.
is Miss Lily.
Now, we won't be able to answer right now because we're live, but we're only live for about another 10, 15 minutes, not even that.
Yep.
So we're here for you guys. We are here. Silverleaf, dude, we got people following us like crazy.
that. Read 'em off.
Rubber. Silver Lake followed us. Appreciate you. Much love, Silver Lake. Rabin Thurman, Rabin Thurman. Appreciate you. James Ryan, 511. You, Gabby Elizabeth. We appreciate you. Caitlin Bruce, Gabby Elizabeth. Tony Bowes.
Yeah.
In the house.
Remind him, Tony. Give us the hearts,
Yep.
guys. If you
We
like
know
what
we
we're
do.
saying here, give us the hearts. Phil, I make $38,000 or $380,000.
No, that's 38,000.
You sure?
Yeah, 38 and 3 zeros. 38,000.
Okay. A year, score 700, and I have secured a credit card of $200. How much can I qualify?
Phil, I hope you're starting off your new career. Respect to that 38,000. Unfortunately, you can't qualify for nothing. Not like, because after I take that 38,000 and your basic expenses, you're not going to qualify for anything. There's something called an HPM. HPM is high price mortgage. People are like, what's the lowest the bank will lend? And I'm like, usually 80 to 100 grand. Well, why do they want less? Because they're greedy and they want to make money? Yeah, that's part of it. But another part of it is this. There are mandatory fees inside of a loan. And if the fees exceed a certain percentage of the loan, it goes into a different classification called an HPM. And banks don't want to deal with HPMs because they get scrutinized. So they just say, we don't do those small loans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of it's reality.
Yep. Ashley Heiklin, how far out can you typically push out a close, or does it depend on the owners, sellers?
Ashley, 90 days is not out of the norm, but you usually have to have reasons. Now, there are some guidelines that say you must take possession within a certain amount, because there's another version which is you close on the house and you let the people that are living in it rent it back to you for the mortgage payment or more for the next 6 months to a year. This is all inside of negotiation. So, yep.
All right. Caitlin Bruce, are you in Alabama?
Are you in Alabama right now?
Not at this moment.
I am not in Alabama. I do loans in Alabama.
Yes,
we do loans in all 50 states, all 50, all 50 states.
We're currently in California, but we would love to help you in Alabama, Caitlin. Jeff T. I make $80,000 a year and my wife makes $60,000. Good job, guys. What can we afford? How do we start? Located in New Jersey.
New Jersey. Well, first thing you do is screenshot this.
Screenshot it. Hurry, 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 hurry.
And then you call us. And with that income, no debt, cracking 580 to 650, somewhere in that range.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Actually, no, I would go higher. I would say you're pushing 6.7s. Yeah.
Yep.
Matt, MK Ultra and mortgages.
Yes, all day. We talk about everything here. MK Ultra, that's a scary thing that actually happened, and it's really tough to get your head around. And if you really talk about
the government,
yeah, the way the Federal Reserve works and banking and how they control the system, same people.
Yeah, you're welcome, Cassie. We're here for you. Jeff T. Also, if we buy a 2-family home, what would they factor in the rent payment?
So,
Good
JT,
Good
if
question.
you are buying a duplex, not a 2-family home, called a duplex, which means one family lives here, one family lives there, but technically it's a duplex. You must live in the biggest unit. You must live in the biggest unit. You can rent out the second unit. I can even use the second unit for income. If I use the second unit for income to qualify you, a new set of guidelines kicks in. And you must have reserves, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, for a minimum of 6 months. So I can do 3.5% down FHA on that same duplex, but you need you need 6 months reserves, PITI. If I didn't need the second income in order to qualify you, you don't need those reserves anymore. Different guideline.
Excellent. Yes. Osario 11. Can my father-in-law be on our loan as a cosigner if he has a house with over $300,000 equity?
So Osario, the amount of equity that he has is irrelevant. Doesn't factor in at all. Nobody cares. All we care about is what's his FICO score, what's his income, and what's his debt to income ratio. Equity is irrelevant. Mortgage payment becomes relevant because I need to know what his income is minus his mortgage payment and all of his other payments so I can find out if he benefits the loan. But how much equity he has, he could have $40 million in equity. Nobody cares.
But he can be your cosigner.
Yep.
Looking forward to that phone call, Osario. Gustavo Diaz, what's the interest rate on the VA loans at the moment?
Gustavo, good question. If you went to our New American Funding website right now, it would say 5.75%. 5.75%. However, that's a perfect file. That's an 800 FICO, 25% down, 24 DTI. That's a perfect file. Most people don't fit that. But that is what New American Funding is putting it out. That is not my quote to you, by the way. In order for me to give you a quote, I must pull your income. Check your credit. Pull your credit. Check your income. Did that backwards.
Do all of it, man.
And then assets, figure out your loan to value, debt to income ratio, and then I give you a quote.
Yeah, Hoover Hater said, why so late?
Why so late? We were out hustling. We were doing that hustle, man. You
Check
know.
it out.
Whoa, he's hustling. Check that. He got work boots on. We are doing some hustle.
Other projects.
Yeah, hustle.
Brandon, I told you, commission healthcare account manager. Let's say $100,000 I've made in the last few years.
So
Yeah, commission, man.
If you went
I know
100K
it.
in California, you're probably busting 425, 450. Pretty simply, right? 425, 450.
How long have you been doing that job, Brandon?
Maybe a
And
little
what
bit more.
exactly
Yeah.
do you do as a healthcare manager?
Maybe a little bit more, actually. I'm thinking about it.
Hoover Hater. So in California, you have to make at least $240,000 a year to afford a house in LA.
Yeah, somewhere in that range. That's the reality of it.
Yeah.
240 will crack you $1 million. The average house in LA proper, 900 grand. 900 grand for people to come in at $1 million. By the way, low income, I can get $1.1 million house on low income. What? It's crazy. It's crazy.
Nuts. Mia Love said my husband is getting a $530,000 loan with $95,000 a year.
That's pretty good, Mia. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Poppin' Bottles said 712 credit score, $65,000 annual income, $20K down. What can I get myself in?
$65K, 325, 350, somewhere in that range. Maybe 380. Maybe 380. Yeah, maybe 380.
I'm trying to find it. It just on us.
Dude, what we doing?
Yeah, there it is. Brandon, just because someone can get a loan with an income doesn't make it smart.
Brandon, those are wise words. Those are wise words. I'm not gonna lie. Those are wise words. A lot of times, if it's not right for you, it's not smart. Yeah, yeah. You're right, Brandon. I'm not fighting against what you said.
Homeownership isn't for everyone. Osario, credit score of 690, $85K a year, $9K debt. Can we qualify?
I lost you.
Credit score of 690, $85K a year, $9K debt.
Yeah, 690 is good. 690 is good. $9K debt. I need to know your monthly, but yeah, you're gonna qualify. 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. A few things I have to factor in.
They're in Washington. How's the weather up there? Love Washington.
Love Washington.
Indeed says 500 credit score and need $1 million business loan.
Indeed. You're going to be in need. Yeah.
When you get one of those, shoot me that phone number.
Indeed's going to be in need because 500 credit score, you ain't getting nothing.
Not getting much of anything. Yeah. I worked with hospital. Oh, wait. Hold on.
Okay, cool. What, dude?
Ooh, man, this thing's jumped on us.
Yeah.
Hoogle Hater said should we wait until the Fed lowers the rates in September?
I don't know. Does that make a good idea for you? We'll be here today if you want to do the loan. We'll be here in September if you want to do the loan. We'll be here 2 years from now if you want to do the loan.
Kev versus Kevin. How do I qualify for down payment assistance program?
Very good, Kevin versus Kev. You first qualify for an FHA, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, USDA, or VA, and then we plug you into the down payment assistance programs. Pretty simple.
April Dillon, new here. Do you lend and qualify folks for the VA loan?
April Dillon, glad you're here. Appreciate you. Appreciate your service. Thank you for your service. Respect.
See that VA.
If you're new, we do VA loans. We specialize in VA loans. I'm a veteran. My dad's a veteran. My son's active duty, military, special forces, badass. So we do a lot of VA loans. A lot of VA loans. We know the VA loan very well. Very well. And we're VA direct. I can explain to you a lot about the VA loan, but the VA loan's probably the best loan in the system. There's only one downside to it. It's called a VA funding fee, but everything else is gravy. The rates are better. There's no mortgage insurance, 0 down, assumable by another veteran. It's an amazing loan. Give us a call. We'll help you out.
April Dillon, looking forward to that phone call. Brianna Monet, better to buy in Cali or Texas?
Depends. It depends a lot. Well, California, there's some benefits. Here's the benefit. Property tax base is going to be low. So you're going to have a 1.25 property tax base kind of across the board, unless it's a new build or special assessment somewhere. So 1.25. So you can rent it for more if you buy it in Cali and you want to rent it out. You rent for more. Texas, tax base is going to be higher, but in my opinion, it's a better place to live. So depend on it. There's a lot to go with right there. Depends. Where do you want to live?
Yeah.
And I own houses in California and Texas, by the way, so I know.
Brandon, I work with hospitals to ensure their staffing is sufficient. We bring in travel contacts, orders for all types of clinicians, change of hospital, bill rate, and pay the clinicians a pay rate. That margin. Sounds like a lot of work. How do you make commission, though? Like you're bringing them in? Low carb cooking. I got a conventional loan for an investment home. How can I purchase a third home?
The first thing you do is call us, and we'll help you. So guidelines start to change at 3 and 4 homes. And the reason guidelines start to change is because the market can really affect you. It's very simple. If it's your primary residence, it's a set of guidelines. So it's FHA, even Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. The guidelines are 5% down or 3% down if it's your first home, but you won't qualify for that because you already own homes.
All right, dude, you ready for rapid fire?
I guess so.
Let's do rapid fire. John L., do the price of homes affect closing costs?
Yes, by a lot, actually, because the price of the home is going to determine the tax base. The tax base is going to be your largest cost in closing costs.
Brandon, is where we make money Appreciate both of your time. We'll be calling. Cool.
Appreciate you, Brandon.
Jeff T. Thanks, fellas. I'm self-employed. What documents should I start preparing?
Jeff, it's real simple. Send me your last 2 years 1040s, and then inside of that, you'll either send me 1120s, K1s, or 1099s, and from there, I'll start tailoring your situation. We'll get you a house.
Brianna Monet, why is it in California and Texas, banks has to calculate both of our debts? Community property states.
Oh, community property states. Yeah, there's a few states that are, a lot of states that are not community property states. However, in community property states, because you are one in the eyes of the law, they're like, hey, you all are one. Congratulations. Somebody wanted to be married. All right, cool. Yeah, his debts are your debts. Her debts are your debts. That's how it works.
Yeah, Lupita, April, Matt, thank you for the love. Hilva Hater, let's say me and girlfriend want to buy a house together. We are not married. How does that work?
Real simple, Whoville Hater. We build your profile, and we qualify you. We build girlfriend, her profile, qualify her, put them both in the same file, move forward.
Yeah, April Dillon said, thank you. I'll reach out. Looking forward. Chad, I need a loan. Chaz, I need a loan. My income comes from Colombia, if you can catch my drift.
Yeah.
Escobar.
Yeah. So if you actually report it to the IRS, I don't care where your income comes from. Neither does the IRS, by the way. You could put, I am an illegal drug seller on the IRS. They don't give a shit.
There's actually a section that says if any of your income comes from illegal activities.
Yes, you could put like, I make $7 million from illegal activities. Cool, pay me our tax. We don't ask any more questions than that. That's it.
CEO 007, do you do credit repair?
We don't, but we recommend a few people. There's a guy on our profile that kind of helps you out. If somebody reports good, if our customers report good to us, we continue with that company. The minute we get complaints, we move on. There's a lot of credit repair companies.
Yep. AVI, I've been out of a job for 10 months, just got one, and only have 1 year of steady employment history.
So if you just got one, you got problems, because after 6 months, I need 6 months back. So it's just kind of the simple guideline, but we might be able to make it work with some other factors. Give us a call.
Blue the Husky, I'm under contract and shopping around for the best rates. Would you be interested in competing?
Sure. Send me a locked LE, Blue the Husky. Let me teach you the games in loan officer world. The minute you ask your loan officer for an LE, because that's what you're going to ask for, they're going to go, oh, I wonder why. You're like, you just want it. Yeah, no, you don't. You're going to go shop it. So they're going to give you a non-locked LE because they don't have to honor the non-locked LE. When you send it to me, I'm going to go, hey, this LE is loan estimate, by the way. They're going to give you a non-locked LE, and they're going to go, hey, can you beat this 5.875? And I'm going to go, that's a non-locked LE. There's no commitment to anything there. Nothing. Zero. I can't fight a ghost. I need a locked LE. So you're going to call your loan officer back, and you're going to say, hey, I need a locked LE. Well, you haven't locked the rate yet. Well, do I have to? To get a locked LE, you do. Okay. That's when the game really starts. Because prior to that, it's just ghost games left and right. It's kind of dirty, but it's what it is. We can beat most people, by the way. There's only like one bank out there I can't beat, and I can match them. The best I can do is match them. But every bank that's come to us, every time we get something, and I go to fight, here's what happens. I say, hey, New American Funding, Mr. Bank. By the way, I don't own the bank. I work for the bank. I say, hey, New American Funding, this client is coming to me with 5.875 at this cost. I need to beat it. And they're like, Lee, that's kind of a good rate. I don't know if we can beat it. And I'm like, okay, let me put this another way, New American Funding. We are two high-producing loan officers that choose to work here. If we continually lose the battle, we will choose to work somewhere else. And New American Funding goes, you know, we talk with management. We think we can beat this by this much. And it happens a lot. And I hate to say it, but I do have to fight against my bank in order to win. I don't own this bank. I work for the bank. And my long game client is you. So I fight for you.
Yeah, Matty Esk, I thought FHA was the best option, but what is this Fannie Mae you speak of?
FHA is an option. It's the best option for most people with lower credit scores. If you have a higher credit score, like 800, you're almost always better off with Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. Almost always. Almost always.
Rosara, what states are you guys helping?
All 50. Spell it. F-I-T-Y. 50.
All right. CEO 007, my cousin has a Section 8 business. He's living in Miami. Very successful.
Okay, good for you.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yoni. Yep. Hello. How soon after purchase can I look into getting a home? How soon after I purchase a car can I look into getting a home? Immediately. Brad McKinney. We make $260,000 combined with 780 plus credit scores with no debt. How much do you think we should buy?
With that income, you're cracking $1 million, but you already know that. You make that kind of money, $1.5 million. You go into jumbo loans in most places. Jumbo loans are a whole different category. We can help you with those, but you know this. You're just flexing.
With that question, what kind of rate should I expect?
I don't know what the question was. Oh,
780 credit.
780. You can expect the best. I mean, the best. I would shop all the jumbo loans. I put them all in front of you and show you what it is. But rates are bad for everybody. They're like, if you're gold, you're in the high fives, low sixes. If you're gold, if you're average, you're high sixes, low sevens.
Mm-hmm. Liz, is it better to put a large down payment right away or the minimum?
Depends on what you're trying to do, Liz. Sometimes you want to save that money to buy down the rate. And that's a whole different, you have to tune in on a different day because we don't have time. But usually 3.5% down is kind of, if it's your first time home buyer, kind of the right, because the interest rates are so high right now.
Blue the Husky, sounds good. I hit you up with the locked LE. Right. Migs, VA loan first or FHA loan?
VA all day, air day.
Yep. Rosaro, thank you for the love. Diego, do you know about car lease?
Yeah, you have to. You cannot ignore it with 10 payments, and you must always count it because you chose to lease a car, which means you're gonna have that payment for the rest of your life. If you have an installment loan, which means I'll pay it off after 60 payments, I can stop counting it at a certain amount. But lease forever. Leases, I hate leases.
Yep. Brad McKinney, this will be our first home. I'm not flexing. I'm trying to learn.
Well, Brad, you got money, dude.
You're a baller,
money,
brother.
Yeah, you're money. I will teach you. If you're that high of an earner, you're right. You're in a whole different category, and there's a long conversation. Most people on our feed, most people in America, you know this, are not in that category. But we do deal with people in that category, so call us. We'll help you.
Napple Dawn, I need money for renovations.
A lot of people do Napple.
Call us, man. Tony Bowles, thank you for the love. Liz, heard it was better to put down the minimum and then put a large payment principal afterwards. That's a strategy.
Liz, that's a strategy, but it kind of works against you a little bit because it doesn't change your payment. It does. There's this game that you can play like, hey, I'm borrowing $300,000, but I have $100,000 put down. Cool, but your interest rate is like 7 right now, ridiculously high. Well, there's a better way to do that, which is wait till interest rates hit the low and then use that big amount of money to buy down the rate, in which case you're paying the bank a lot less. Then after you do that, then you buy down the principal. There's this big strategy. We can help you with it.
Yeah, we're actually going to do it one-on-one when we do your loan, Liz. If you're interested in getting a home loan, go to the link in the bio, select apply for a home loan now. Our phone number is there.
Brad, we appreciate you very much. We've been Chris and Lee. We are out.